The KXAN News Podcast is sponsored by Shelf Genie. In-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News Today.
We are expecting more storms and showers starting today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Miller.
And I'm Erica Brennis. So there's a risk of severe storms today and tomorrow, right, Kristen? What can we plan for?
We got to plan for it all, really.
Okay.
We've got the threat of hail, isolated tornadoes, and damaging wind. So a lot to get to. Let's begin with what's happening outside now, because we've got a cloudy sky sitting on top of us. This is a view from our Whittlesey Landscape Supplies weather camera there in Granite Shoals. Cloudy, but a little warmer than what we had yesterday. We do have a dry skies for the moment. By dry, I'm talking about no meaningful rain out there. Yes, like yesterday, we could squeeze out a few pockets of drizzle, some mist, some very light rain between now and the later part of this afternoon. But I'm not tracking the heavy stuff until later in the day. So walking out the door, you can expect temperatures to be in the upper 50s to low 60s. We're going to take those 50s and 60s and warm them up nicely. I've already got a head start on that warm up for the day, as our morning lows are up 5 to about 15 degrees at this hour. As far as what you can plan for, you can plan for highs in the mid 70s today. You can plan for a good amount of cloud cover, maybe a few peaks of sunshine, but the rain chances start to increase late this afternoon. Those get up to about 50%, and those will stay at 50% through the early and mid-evening hours. Problem is, with the daytime heating, a little disturbance headed our way, there is going to be significant risk of some of those storms turning strong to severe. 2 out of 5 risk for most of our counties, includes all of the Austin Metro, all of the Hill Country, and about half of our eastern counties. So like I said, a lot of this is going to be dependent on that cap. We talked a lot about that yesterday. We'll review that. We'll talk about what could potentially fall out of those storms and how long that severe weather threat will be with us. The details here in your First Warning forecast. Tom?
Okay, thank you, Kristen. The family of a woman found dead after going missing on Austin's 6th Street is hoping someone comes forward with some more information.
Tiara Strand's body was found just 3 days ago in a ditch off I-35 just north of Temple. Her family says 8 days ago she went missing after a night out on 6th Street. KXAN's Nabil Ramadna sat down with the family, who tells us they know someone knows something, and they're just hoping to hear answers.
Scrolling through photos.
We all grew up like sisters.
And sharing stories about someone very dear to their hearts.
She loved to play in her makeup, and she loved doing her makeup. She loved doing her hair.
Jessica Williams and Chandra White, both cousins to 25-year-old Tiara Strand.
Look at how much she looks like her.
The mother to a 6-year-old girl, a daughter, friend, now gone. Tiara Strand was last seen on Sunday, April the 16th, here on East 6th Street. But her body was found almost 80 miles away in a ditch on Berger Road in Bell County. It's still unclear who killed her and how.
We're not going to rest until we find who did this.
Her family says she went out with friends and was involved in a fight.
There was a fight that initially originated inside of the club. Tiara was kicked out of the club. She went out the back and came to the front.
Williams says another fight broke out outside the club. She was then told by one of Tiara's friends that Tiara was near Trinity Street.
She says that once she got to Trinity, she turned right to go follow her, and once she got there and looked down the street, she wasn't there.
There's just so many unanswered questions.
Unanswered questions the family is hoping to have answered soon.
There's cameras, and there's a lot of people, so somebody saw something.
She's just so beautiful and full of life. Oh my God. She didn't deserve what happened to her.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
This is a joint investigation between the Bell County Sheriff's Department and the Austin Police Department's homicide unit. If you have any information, reach out to either department. A GoFundMe has been set up by the family. We will have that link under this story on KXAN.com. Going in depth, 6th Street isn't the only bar area in Austin that has been tied to recent deaths. So is Rainey Street. The bodies of 4 men have been found in Lady Bird Lake in the past few months. 3 of those men were out on Rainey Street before their deaths. APD does not suspect foul play in any of the recent drownings. City Council recently voted to explore additional safety measures along the lake near Rainey Street. This includes the idea of stationing park rangers and EMS near the Rainey Street trailhead. APD has also upped patrols on Rainey Street. Polls will open this morning at 7 for the second day of early voting. Around 5% of Austinites are expected to vote.
Yesterday, we saw about 5,000 people casting their votes. The majority were in person, from in-person voting. About 1,000 were from mail-in ballots. Some council members, like Ryan Alter, want to examine, though, how we do spring elections. He wants a commission to look into how many signatures it should take to get a petition on the ballot, or moving elections like this one to overlap with the busier ones in November.
If we do have our charter elections that are changing our fundamental document, it's great to get those to be when we have the most people showing up. And we know that's during our presidential elections in November or our gubernatorial elections in the off years.
Alter says the move could get more people to vote on important changes, but he also says it would save the city money. City says this election is estimated to cost $1.3 million. And we have a voter guide for you at KXAN.com, including what's on the ballot and your polling locations.
A high-profile cable network host out. Why some industry experts are saying this will affect the future of journalism.
And a Goodwill find ending up as a piece of artwork now fit for a European museum. Good morning, a live look outside from our Granite Shoals cameras. We kick off this Tuesday morning. Thanks for being with us on KXAN News Today. There are several communities under flood warnings as the Mississippi River is expected to crest later this week.
Floodwaters have already shut down roads and parks in river communities. In Iowa, water is creeping into people's homes and inching up the walls. There's a floodwater emergency in Minnesota as well, as water takes over low-lying roads. The Public Works Department says sewer crews have been working around the clock to keep an eye on the city's pump system and ensure everything is working correctly.
The highest rated cable news host out of a job this morning. Tucker Carlson no longer with Fox. Some industry experts suggest the change might kickstart a revolt against opinion journalism. NBC News political analyst Stephen Hayes says it remains an important, though, part of our culture.
I think there's nothing wrong with opinion journalism. In fact, I think sometimes the best journalism in America is opinion journalism. But it can't be opinion journalism untethered from facts. You have to start with the facts. You have to make your case with the facts. We have to basically have some agreement about what the facts are, and then we can have a big fight about how to interpret them or what policies should flow from them. I think what got some people in trouble was just sort of setting aside the facts in order to make their case, or not even stopping to consider what the facts might be.
CNN also cut ties with Don Lemon. Those two changes, though, not related. Still ahead, have you seen this man? The search for a robbery suspect who police say badly beat someone.
And what a bill that would invest more than $1 billion into school security needs before heading to the state Senate.
Astros taking on the best team in baseball, and well, this is one of the reasons they're the best team in baseball. I've got more on that coming up.
This KXAN News podcast is brought to you by Shelf Genie. I'm Rosie Newberry from KXAN Studio 512. Considering replacing your kitchen cabinets? Struggling to find or reach things? Go to shelfgenie.com/Austin. Shelf Genie designs custom pull-out shelves for your existing cabinets, adding convenience and value to the most used room in your home. Shelf Genie custom pull-out shelves, everything in reach.
Happy Tuesday morning. You're looking live over Texas State University, my alma mater. Go Bobcats. Hopefully your day is off to a good start at 4:44 on this Tuesday morning. Austin police need help finding a man that they say badly beat up someone and robbed them. Police say this man and another person attacked a man on April 8th in an alley on Rutland Drive. APD arrested the other man, but they still need help finding this suspect. Detectives believe this was not a random attack. As the weather starts to warm up, we're going to see more and more people heading outside to enjoy it.
Yeah, and with that comes the risk of ticks. These can attach to your skin, they can get on your clothes, get on your pets. You can lower your chance, though, of attracting ticks by using repellents, light-colored protective clothing, and tucking pant legs into socks. Also, you want to be sure to check yourself, your family, your pets for them, and be careful how you pull them off.
Anytime it's not freezing or there's a frost, you should be checking for ticks. Summertime, obviously, is when it really pops up. Right now, you're getting the small ticks that are getting on you. Later on in the summer, you're getting mainly the adult ticks.
When ticks do attach and feed on humans, the skin will become red and irritated and appears almost as a bullseye rash like you see there. The Texas Senate could help keep an East Texas state park open for visitors to enjoy.
The Texas House passed a bill that could keep Fairfield Lake State Park open, and it now heads to the Senate. The park, about 70 miles east of Waco, closed earlier this year. The company that owned the property had leased the land to the state for decades, but they sold it to a developer. The House bill would require Parks and Wildlife to weigh in on possible water permit changes. Right now, just the TCEQ needs to do that. The move could stop future development from happening.
A $35 Goodwill purchase in Texas is now headed to a museum in Europe. An Austin woman found this artifact at a local store nearly 5 years ago. Turned out to be a long-lost piece of ancient Roman artwork. Before it landed at the Austin store, its last known location dated to a museum in Germany. That was during World War II. So after spending a year, though, in a San Antonio museum, it's now headed back to Europe.
We still don't know exactly how it got to Texas. That remains a mystery after all this time. But it's good that it had another year in Texas for people to learn about it before it goes back.
To learn all the history on this ancient Roman artifact and see it yourself before it heads overseas, you can head to KXAN.com and click on this story.
What a find.
Yeah, exactly. I remember we covered this a year ago, and the woman who found it, she knew what it
She
knew
was
what
like
it was.
a
Pretty,
thrifter,
exactly.
a professional thrifter.
Yeah, and she had like an art history background, so
incredible.
Yeah.
Quite a find.
Not me. I'd walk by them and be like, ooh, look, pretty statue.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let me show you what's going on with your forecast here. Got a lot to talk about. We are anticipating the risk of some strong to severe storms later this afternoon. What's going on out there this morning? Not a whole lot. We've got a cloudy sky overhead. Temperatures a little warmer this morning in the upper 50s to low 60s, but we're waiting on what comes in later today. So let's talk about the setup. The setup is the fact that we've got a good moisture return. Dew points, which is a measure of moisture, in the 50s and 60s, indicating we've got a good amount of moisture to work with these storms later today. There's going to be kind of a two-part series here. The first is a disturbance getting kicked out of the Four Corners, and that's actually going to be rolling over the state to bring some storms today. The second will be this low that's going to be sinking out of the Great Basin. That brings through a cold front tomorrow. That brings yet another chance of severe storm. So 2 days of potential impactful thunderstorms. A lot of this happened late in the day, though. So it's going to be cloudy skies to start. Temperatures in the mid-70s this afternoon. And then as we get into the daytime heating in the evening, that's when those storms are likely. So as I put this into motion, we'll probably see a couple pockets of drizzle between now and lunchtime. Nothing that I'm worried about. Once we get past the lunch hour, this computer model doesn't show anything over the hill country. I think that's a mistake. I think there is a good potential we see some of these storms out in our eastern counties get pushed a little further west. But I like the fact that it's indicating the severe storms as we get into the later part of the afternoon and evening before almost everything clears around 10, 11 o'clock tonight. That will be round one today. Round two will come in very late Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and you could see these storms look mean as well. So as far as the threats go for today, almost all of our counties are underneath that 2 out of 5 risk. The yellow color stretches over all of the hill country, all of the Austin metro, and parts of our eastern counties. The threats will be large hail, isolated tornadoes, and damaging winds. I'm not super concerned about the flooding risk this time around. I think it's going to be those hailers we need to watch out for. And then late tomorrow into early Thursday, 2 out of 5 risk in our northern counties. Same threats there. Hail, isolated tornadoes, and wind. So bottom line, make sure you have a way to stay connected with us today and tomorrow as we track the potential for very impactful storms. Temperatures in the mid-70s today. We'll briefly touch the 80s tomorrow, but that cold front does drop our temperatures back down to the 70s Thursday. Some leftover showers and storms early in the morning Thursday. Most of your Thursday afternoon completely dry. And Friday, too. Most of Friday, especially the early part of the day, looks dry. It's going to be a 50% chance of storms and showers late Friday night into the early morning hours on Saturday. Saturday afternoon and Sunday trending drier, but because of those cold fronts, we're going to be kind of back and forth here with our highs in the 70s and 80s over the next 6 to 7 days. Overnight lows pretty steady in the 50s most nights moving forward.
Thank you, Chris. And you hear about this? Austin no longer expected to be home to the tallest building in Texas. This is what the more than 1,000-foot tall Wilson Tower was supposed to look like in Austin's skyline. But look now, our partners at the Austin Business Journal report that new plans call for the trimming of the apartment building from 80 stories to just 45. Comes after the city failed to approve the high-rise's original design in January. And since then, developers have faced more challenges like rising construction costs and interest rates.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and that uncertainty leads to these developments, changing significantly from what they thought they were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, to what they could be today or 2 years, 5 years from now.
While Austin won't have the tallest building in the state, what will be the tallest building in the city is now under construction. The Waterline Tower on Red River Street will be 74 floors. Looking in depth at this, in cities across the country, developers are overhauling their downtown office towers. Some places, towers have been sitting empty since the pandemic. Developers in places like New York, Dallas, Washington, D.C., all converting those now empty office towers into housing.
Because if you don't have office workers coming in every day, spending money at coffee shops, restaurants, and bars, you've got to replace that energy and activity. You've got to get those feet on the street. And the best way to do that is with residential density.
Now, some cities are offering big tax breaks for developers to incentivize the office to housing conversions.
A busy part of South Austin could soon be safer for drivers. Construction will start soon on an intersection safety project at South Congress and Stastny Lane. This is video of one of the many deadly wrecks in that area over the years. The project is meant to cut down on crashes and make it easier for people to get around in the area on foot or by bicycle. Projects like this at other intersections have shown to cut down serious crashes by 31%. Work will cost $5 million. It starts next month and goes until the end of the year. People parking near Barton Springs Pool say they are fed up with tickets. Viewers sent us emails to report it at KXAN.com to find out why it keeps happening. The city tells us the motorcycles and scooters parking in the pool's south lot keep getting tickets. It's because they say they're parking illegally in the grass or in no parking zones. But those drivers say they're forced to do that because there is no two-wheel parking options in the main parking lot. The city told us drivers can park motorcycles and scooters in regular spots. Austin Parks and Recreation is currently collecting community input on the future of Zilker Park. It says if enough people ask for more two-wheel parking, it could be integrated into their plan.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Good morning to you. Longhorn baseball team hoping to get their game in with Texas Southern tonight, scheduled for a 6:30 start, and then the Longhorns head to TCU for 3 beginning on Friday. Astros on the road against the best team in baseball. Right now it's not close. Tampa Bay 19-3, 13-0 at home. First inning though, Alex Bregman already up 1-0. He launches a solo shot. Astros take a 2-0 lead, but then here come the Rays, up 4-3 and then 6-3 on Christian Bentecourt's base hit in center field. And the play of the game was off of the defensive side. Check out Wander Franco, the shortstop. Oh my goodness, what a catch on Martin Maldonado. That is worth a second look. In fact, he doesn't even use the glove. Running away, a barehanded catch. That's one reason why the Rays are now 20-3 as they beat the Astros 8-3. Rangers first place in the West, taking on the Reds, and Josh Young, second home run of the game for Young. Young from Texas Tech. Nick Lodolo, the Reds starter from TCU, and Young gets the better of that. But the Reds come back, they tie it, and then in the bottom of the ninth inning, TJ Friedl unties it. And that is a walk-off win. Reds win it 7-6. The final in Cincinnati. How about in Miami last night, the Heat and the Bucks? Heat trying to go up 3-1 on the top seed in the East, and Jimmy Butler went crazy in the fourth. Butler knocking down 3 after 3. He scores 56 points in the game, one of the greatest scoring performances in playoff history. Only 3 have more points in a playoff game, and the Heat now put the top seed Bucks on the brink of elimination with the 5-point win in Miami. Back to you.
Thanks for joining KXAN News Today. You can also listen to KXAN News Nightly every weekday after 5:30 p.m. for in-depth coverage on what matters most to you.